Would you save the person who destroyed your life? Would you take the oxygen tube off the person who ruined your life? Ryan Mitchell faced that very choice. I was reborn, and the first thing I did was pull the oxygen tube from my unconscious wife. Lying motionless on the hospital bed. What was the point of saving her? To go through it all again? To be betrayed, abused, and driven into depression and suicide once more? My name now is Ryan Mitchell. Who told you to do that? My mother-in-law, Patricia Collins, stormed into the hospital room, her face pale with fury. But she was too late. I had already signed the consent form to end life support and personally removed the oxygen tube from Emma Collins. Emma had been in a serious car accident just the day before. Despite emergency efforts, the doctors declared her brain dead. No hope, they said. But no one could have imagined what would happen next. Half a year later, she woke up, alive, conscious, whole. They say only the wicked live long. I used to think that was just an old saying. Now I know better. Back then, I had no idea Emma had a lover. I didn't know she'd crashed the car while rushing to buy him a Valentine's Day gift. All I knew was that my wife was dying, and I couldn't let her go. I poured every dollar I had into saving her, sold everything. Borrowed more than I could ever repay. I swallowed my pride and begged my relatives for help. I visited her every day with homemade porridge, massaged her lifeless hands, and talked to her, believing she could hear me. But the woman I saved wasn't the woman I thought I knew. When Emma finally opened her eyes, her first words to me weren't gratitude. She asked for a divorce. She said her near-death experience had awakened something in her, that life was short and she couldn't live a lie any longer. She said she wanted to chase true love. Her true love, not me. I was devastated, but I still loved her. I tried to understand, but soon, she showed her true colors. She and her lover mocked me, humiliated me. The emotional abuse turned physical. I was shattered, but I still held on. Until I couldn't anymore. I gave in. I signed the divorce papers. She promised she'd pay back the mountain of debt I'd racked up for her medical care. I believed her, stupidly. The day after the divorce, she turned cold. She said the money was borrowed in my name, so it was my responsibility. I was too broken to fight, too ashamed to read the fine print in the divorce agreement. I never imagined someone could be that cruel. But I was wrong. She walked away free, and I was buried under debt. Emma had always been her mother's golden girl. The house we lived in? It was in Patricia's name. Emma handed most of her salary to her mother. After the divorce, I was left with nothing. Then the calls began. My relatives came knocking, demanding repayment. My parents stepped in and borrowed what they could. But the pressure crushed them. Strangers barged into our home every day, shouting, threatening. My mother, Linda Mitchell, has high blood pressure. She ended up in the ER more than once from the stress. My father, William, used to be calm and steady, but he couldn't bear the shame. One day, in a moment of rage, he grabbed a kitchen knife and went after Emma. He didn't hurt her, but the police arrested him anyway. He spent 15 days in detention. Our family was destroyed. I cried every day. I couldn't eat. I couldn't sleep. Depression consumed me, and less than a year after the divorce, I jumped off a building and ended it all. Or so I thought. But fate had other plans. I woke up in the past, reborn on the second day after Emma's accident. She was still in surgery. The hospital was still waiting for money. This was the moment everything had started. Last time, I gave up everything for her. This time, I walked away. I let go of the past. I chose myself. I stared coldly at the number on Emma's heart rate monitor as it dropped to 0. A flat line, no beeping, no pulse, just silence. And an indescribable wave of satisfaction washed over me. Across the room, Patricia Collins stared at her daughter's lifeless body in disbelief. Then, with a guttural sob, she collapsed to the floor, screaming, My daughter, how could you die? How could you leave your mother alone in this world? But her sorrow quickly twisted into rage. She lunged at me with wild eyes and clawed hands. I sidestepped calmly. Ryan, why did you give up on treating my daughter? Why? She shrieked. Now she's dead. You owe her. Owe me. You have to compensate us. Patricia was hysterical, loud, bitter, out of control. I looked her dead in the eye. Did I give up, or was it you, Mom? I asked coldly, my voice flat but cutting. What are you talking about? She snapped, voice trembling. How could I give up my daughter? She was my only child. Exactly, I said, my tone turning razor sharp. She was your only daughter, and you killed her. Patricia's face drained of color. You said just yesterday that you couldn't afford to save her. You pressured me to sign the treatment refusal form. Don't act like you weren't part of this. She faltered, her mouth opened, but no words came out. The truth hit her harder than any slap. Patricia had always assumed she could manipulate me. She thought that, even without contributing a single cent, I would bankrupt myself to save Emma. She even claimed she'd tried to borrow money from the entire Collins family, conveniently forgetting to mention that she kept all of Emma's earnings for herself over the years. She had a plan, and she thought it was airtight. But she never expected me to change the game. You want to know who really killed Emma? I said, stepping closer. Look in the mirror. All these years, you took every dollar Emma made. But when she was fighting for her life, you didn't spend a single one of them. I scoffed. If Emma wants to blame someone, she should blame you. There was no time to waste. I had things to take care of, property to sort out, insurance claims to process, and debts Emma had secretly racked up for her lover, Tyler Brooks. All of it had to be settled. I walked away from Patricia without another word. I had no intention of attending Emma's funeral. Mourning a woman like her? That would be a disgrace. Back home, I called a moving company to clear out all the valuable furniture. Anything that couldn't be taken? I smashed it. The house wasn't legally mine. It was under Patricia's name, but every piece of that home's decor had been paid for by my parents. No way I was leaving anything behind for them. After that, I returned to my parents' home. William and Linda Mitchell looked confused. They didn't understand why I wasn't grieving. After all, Emma had just died. Shouldn't I be in pieces? But I was calm, almost cheerful. I couldn't explain everything to them. Not yet. I simply asked them to trust me. And they did. My parents had always stood by me, even when they were pushed to the brink by the Collins family. They never blamed me. Remembering the humiliation they endured in the previous life only fueled my hatred. Emma wasn't the only villain. Patricia Collins and Tyler Brooks had played their parts, too. None of them would escape this time. The next morning, Patricia started blowing up my phone. Dozens of calls. I ignored them all, until I finally picked up. Ryan, are you dead? She shrieked through the receiver. Why didn't you answer? My daughter is dead. Have you already forgotten? Her voice was so sharp and furious. It sounded like it might tear through the line. What happened to the house? Where did everything go? Why is it smashed? Did you do this? I didn't say a word. Because that house, that home, belonged to Emma and me. And now, Emma was gone. So was the home. Now that Emma was gone, I had the final say on what to do with everything in the house. Patricia had no right to question me. The house is in my name. That's my home. What does any of this have to do with you? She snapped. Arms crossed. You need to get your facts straight. I let you live there out of kindness. I let out a bitter laugh. Yes, technically, Patricia had bought the house outright, but at least half the money came from Emma's salary. The same money Emma handed over to her mother every month while we were dating. We weren't married back then, so legally Emma's finances had nothing to do with me. But when it came time to plan the wedding, Patricia claimed she was broke after buying the house. She refused to contribute a dime. My parents, William and Linda, only have me. They've loved and supported me since I was a kid. They didn't want any tension between our families. So they offered to cover all the renovation costs and promised not to ask Patricia for anything. Back then, Patricia had been full of sweet words. "This house is for Emma and Ryan," she said. "My name's just on the deed for convenience. You two can live in it, rent it, or even sell it one day." I was naive, blinded by love. I believed every lie that came out of that woman's mouth. Looking back, I was a fool, fooled by a mother and daughter with hearts of stone. I took a long breath, forcing myself to stay calm. I had let people like them make me sick, drag me into depression. It wasn't worth it. "I don't care about the house," I said coolly. "Keep it, live in it until the day you die." There was no point fighting over it. With Patricia's kind of venom, there was no way I'd ever see a penny from that place. And what good was a house full of cold walls, no warmth, no family, no love? Guarding lifeless bricks until you die alone. That's the real tragedy. "You're cursing me?" Patricia snapped, her voice shrill and shaking. I ignored her tantrum and continued. "But the renovations, the furniture, the appliances, they were all paid for by my family. Isn't it only fair that I take them back?" "Ryan, don't you have a conscience?" she screamed. "I bought that house for you to live in. And now my daughter's dead. And you turn your back on me? You think God's just gonna let that slide? You're gonna be struck by lightning." "No," I said with a calm that chilled the air. "I'm not afraid, because I'm not the one who deserves to be struck." Her voice cracked. What are you saying?" "I'm saying maybe someone already has been struck. Isn't that right?" I said coldly. "You're saying Emma's death was retribution?" Patricia howled, her voice warping with fury. I didn't answer. I didn't need to. "You listen to me, Ryan," she hissed. "You think you can walk away from this? You won't have a good life. Not with my daughter in the ground." She hung up with a violent click. I stared at the phone for a second, then smirked. Who's afraid of who now? That afternoon, I was home with my parents. My dad, William, and Mom, Linda, were sitting in the living room watching TV. I was nearby, texting the insurance company about Emma's accident. Since she had been the one at fault, the payout wasn't going to be much. Then I heard my mom's voice, sharp with concern. "Ryan, come look at this." I glanced up from my phone. The screen showed Patricia, standing in front of her house with messy hair and red-rimmed eyes, being interviewed by a local news reporter, Sarah Evans. In the lower corner of the screen, a bold headline ran, "Daughter in coma, son-in-law refuses to help, then destroys family home." I narrowed my eyes. Patricia was crying on camera, voice cracking for dramatic effect. "My daughter had a car accident just 2 days ago, and what did my son-in-law do? He didn't try to save her. He just gave up on her. And then he smashed the house. The home we built for them." The camera zoomed in on her face. She looked like the perfect grieving mother. But I knew the truth. And soon, the whole world would, too. They say grief reveals the truth, but on TV that afternoon, all I saw were lies. My son-in-law was afraid of spending money, so he gave up on the rescue and caused my daughter to die in the hospital. Now he doesn't even care about her funeral. I really had no choice but to come to you for help." Patricia sobbed, her voice quivering. She looked like a fragile, heartbroken old woman, frail and helpless. Anyone watching would have felt sorry for her. "Why didn't he come to the hospital?" Reporter Sarah Evans asked gently. "Was it out of guilt? Or self-blame?" "No," Patricia replied, wiping at the corners of her eyes, her voice thick with emotion. "As soon as my daughter had the accident, he wanted the house. I worked all my life. Gave them that house using my life savings. And it's in my name. When I refused to sign it over, he lost it, moved out all the furniture and appliances and trashed the place." Her tears came harder now. Her face twisted in sorrow. She trembled, burying her face in a tissue. Sarah leaned in with a sympathetic smile. "Ma'am, Since you contacted us, what would you like us to do for you? I just want him to handle my daughter's funeral like a decent man. Patricia whispered, her voice hoarse. And I want him to restore the house, put everything back the way it was. All right, Sarah nodded. We'll try to get in touch with him now. Moments later, my phone rang. At the same time, both my parents' phones started ringing too. My mom, Linda, picked up and immediately said, "It's not what you think. Our Ryan would never do something like that. This has to be a misunderstanding." My dad, William, wasn't as calm. "Do you even know what kind of person Ryan is? The Collins family is trying to smear him on purpose. If anyone dares to spread lies about my son again, don't blame me for cutting ties, family or not." It was clear Patricia's stunt was working. The broadcast had triggered a wave of sympathy and outrage. I didn't need to check the internet to know my name was probably being dragged through the mud. I felt a twisted sense of déjà vu. In my past life, the Collins family destroyed my reputation and broke my family apart over debts. Now, in this life, they were trying to ruin me again, this time with a TV camera. It was laughable. Did Patricia really think karma didn't exist? She was about to find out what consequences truly looked like. A moment later, my phone rang again. I picked it up. Hello? Hi, Ryan. We're calling from the Channel XX evening program. Your mother-in-law. I saw the broadcast. I cut in coldly. I'm heading to Emma's memorial hall now. And with that, I hung up. Who says I can't raise hell too? I set the phone down and walked to my room to grab a jacket. Then I zipped up a bag and turned toward the door. Ryan, are you really going? My mom asked, worry written all over her face. People out there are furious. You'll be walking into a storm. My dad added, his voice tight, they've made you out to be the villain. You don't know what kind of people will show up. You might get hurt. Don't worry, I said softly, I can handle it. I'll go with you, my dad offered immediately. What if something happens? You can't go alone. With the TV station there, I'll be fine. You both just stay home and watch the news. Don't worry about me. I looked at them and felt a tug in my chest. My mom had high blood pressure. My dad wasn't the calmest man. If anything happened out there, if a confrontation spiraled out of control, it could affect their health. No, I had to face this alone. I opened the front door. Several of our neighbors were loitering outside. As soon as they saw me, they scrambled to the side, awkwardly clearing a path. But not before I heard the muttering. That's the heartless son-in-law. Can you believe it? His family's educated, but they raised someone like him? Looks like a gentleman, but he's rotten to the core. Disgraceful. I didn't stop. I didn't say a word. I just kept walking. Let them whisper. Let them judge. Because soon, they'd see the truth, and it would speak louder than any lie on TV. Some truths burn hotter than grief. I didn't come to mourn. I came for justice. I was furious when I found out my parents were being pushed around by the shameless Collins family just because they were too reasonable. I didn't waste time explaining anything. What was the point? The truth would come out soon enough. I took a cab straight to the memorial hall. The place was packed. Word must have gotten around that the TV station was covering the event. Aside from relatives and friends, there were plenty of curious onlookers just there to enjoy the spectacle. The moment I stepped inside, the whole place erupted. Ryan, you actually dared to show your face here? You've got some nerve. If it weren't for you, Emma would still be alive. If Patricia hadn't reached out through the TV station, were you really planning to let Emma die without even saying goodbye? You two were married over 3 years, didn't have a single kid, and Patricia still treated you like her own. And this is how you repay them? Every relative on the Collins side was tearing into me, their voices loud and angry. But I knew the truth. Their family ties were never close. Patricia had always been temperamental and manipulative, barely on speaking terms with her in-laws. No one in the Collins family could really stand her. But today, with the cameras rolling and Emma's coffin front and center. Everyone wanted to act like saints, righteous, sympathetic, and oh so devoted to the dead. I cast a quick glance at Emma's coffin, then turned, and there he was. Tyler Brooks, Emma's so-called colleague, her secret lover. He caught me looking, and his eyes flickered nervously. At this point, their affair was still hiding in the shadows. Not yet the open scandal it would later become. Tyler was clearly uncomfortable under my stare, nothing like the smug man he'd soon be. Sneering about how I was just warming the toilet in a marriage that meant nothing. Emma and I had been married 3 years without children, but that wasn't on me. Her doctor diagnosed her with a cold uterus, which made it difficult to conceive. The doctor suggested IVF, but the costs were high, and Patricia refused to help. She was stubborn and full of nonsense, believing rumors she'd heard, that IVF babies weren't normal. Whatever that meant. Besides, the doctor didn't say it was impossible, just challenging. So Patricia insisted we keep trying naturally. Then one day, Emma got pregnant, only, it wasn't my child, it was Tyler's. I still remember how smug Patricia looked when Emma finally announced the pregnancy. She actually had the nerve to say there was nothing wrong with her daughter, just that she'd been picky. Maybe even too good for me. The more I thought about it, the more the irony burned. I snapped, storming across the room. I stopped right in front of Tyler, and slapped him hard across the face. The sound echoed through the room. Tyler reeled, stunned. Emma's co-workers, many of whom were present at the memorial, froze. A hush fell over the crowd. All eyes were on me. "What the hell are you doing?" Patricia shouted, stepping protectively in front of Tyler. Emma had always been a mama's girl, told her mother everything. So of course Patricia had known about the affair. She even encouraged it. She once said it was normal for a woman to have a man on the side. And that if Emma could get pregnant that way, well, that just proved she had skills. I sneered. "What, you need a calendar to schedule when to beat up your daughter's lover? What are you even saying?" Patricia shrieked, trembling with rage. "My daughter is dead, and you're still slandering her? Ryan, do you have no conscience?" Her dramatic outburst stirred up the crowd again. "Have you lost your mind? Ryan, enough already. You're not here to start a fight. You should be here to repent. So many people came today, and you're still making a scene. Can't you have a little shame?" The anger in the room thickened like smoke. But I didn't flinch. I wasn't here for them. I was here for the truth. And the truth doesn't flinch. Some people hide behind grief to cover their guilt, but I wasn't going to let that happen. Not today. "You're really unbelievable," Patricia hissed, her voice trembling with rage. "I've never met anyone so shameless. Were you raised without a father? Or did your mother forget to teach you basic decency?" Before I could respond, Sarah, the reporter from the TV station, rushed over. Her camera crew right behind her. Thank God for their presence. Without them, I'd have no way to defend myself in this circus of lies. "Mr. Mitchell," Sarah began, holding out the mic, "don't you think your behavior today is inappropriate? Your wife just passed away. Instead of grieving, you're out here causing a scene." "I don't think it's inappropriate at all," I said flatly. "Ryan, how can you be so heartless?" Patricia screamed, nearly hysterical. "Was my daughter blind to fall for someone like you? She died so tragically, so unfairly." Her cries were wrenching, deliberate. Everyone rushed to console her, casting judgmental stares my way. Tyler was crouched nearby, his head bowed, his face streaked with tears. He looked like the picture of grief. But I knew better. Sarah leaned in again. "Is there some misunderstanding between you and your wife, or perhaps your mother-in-law?" "No," I said coldly. "It's not a misunderstanding. It's a fact. My wife, Emma, cheated during our marriage, and the man she cheated with is him." I pointed directly at Tyler. "You're out of your mind," Tyler blurted, eyes wide. "Emma and I were just co-workers. There was never anything between us." "Oh really?" I smirked. "Then why did she die in a car crash, on her way to see you. You can't just accuse someone like that, he protested, his voice cracking. You have no proof. That's slander. But I saw the flicker of fear in his eyes. He was putting on a show, but his conscience was already catching up with him. I'm Emma's supervisor, said a calm voice from the crowd. David Harris, Emma and Tyler's department manager, stepped forward, and I'm also Tyler's manager. As far as I know, there was nothing inappropriate between them. I can vouch for that. Patricia jumped in immediately, smug and vindicated. See, even their boss says nothing happened. Why are you still spouting nonsense? I turned to David. Were you with them 24 hours a day? Did you monitor every text, every meeting, every glance? How would you know what they did in private? David faltered, clearly caught off guard. Still, if you're going to accuse someone like this, you should have evidence. Oh, I have it. I looked at Tyler. His body stiffened, the color draining from his face. He hadn't expected this. Only Patricia had known the truth, no one else. If I hadn't been reborn into this second chance at life, I would never have known either. But the pain from that betrayal in my past life still cut like a blade. Learning the truth too late had nearly destroyed me. Before I could say more, Tyler stepped forward, trying to salvage his image. I don't know what I did to make you hate me so much. Ryan, I don't want Emma's funeral to turn into a battleground because of me. If my being here upsets you, I'll go. He turned to leave. I blocked his path. Why? Feeling guilty? I just don't want to upset anyone, he replied, all false humility. I'm just a nobody. How can you call yourself a nobody? I said, enunciating every word, when you were the one who directly caused Emma's death. You can't just make up lies like that. Even if you feel bad for not saving Emma, don't use me as your excuse, Tyler shouted, his face flushing red. David quickly stepped between us. That's enough. Ryan, I've worked with Emma and Tyler for years. I know them both. I don't believe there was anything going on. You're just upset. Please, stop this before it goes any further. Then, turning to Tyler, he added gently, come on, let's get you out of here. Wait, I said, pulling something from my pocket. This is Emma's phone. On it, you'll find the chat logs between her and Tyler. The entire room seemed to stop breathing. I saw Tyler's face drain of all color the moment I held up the phone. He hadn't expected this. He thought the secret had died with Emma. But now, the truth was rising from the ashes. Sometimes the truth is so explosive. It needs a live broadcast to be believed. To be fair, I said, raising my voice just enough to command the room. Let's let the most impartial person here decide, Sarah, the TV reporter. She can take a look at what they were talking about. Without hesitation, I handed Emma's phone to Sarah. If there was one person who wouldn't shy away from chaos, it was a reporter. Sarah immediately took the phone, her eyes scanning the chat log. As she read, her expression shifted from curiosity to disbelief. Her brows furrowed deeper with every line. Cameraman, she called suddenly, her tone sharp. Get over here. Start recording, now. What are you filming? What are you filming? Patricia shrieked, charging forward, her voice cracked with panic. She, more than anyone, knew the truth about Emma and Tyler. If this footage aired, the entire country would know her daughter had been keeping a lover on the side. I pulled the phone away before she could snatch it. Ryan, give me back my daughter's phone, Patricia demanded, her eyes blazing. Oh, so, you admit it's hers, I said, my voice cutting, which means you knew about the affair. I don't know anything, she shouted, stumbling over her words. The chat records say otherwise. Emma said you supported it, that you liked Tyler, that you never liked me. I looked her in the eye as I exposed the lie. I did not, she barked. Flustered, the reporter saw it too, didn't she? I turned to Sarah. You saw it, right? Sarah nodded gravely. I saw everything. Patricia's face turned beet red. A moment later, she bolted toward the door. Get out, all of you. I don't need your help anymore. Just get out." "You're really going to run now?" I taunted. "This is just getting good. Mom, don't you want to help explain all this to the world? After all, it's your family's dirty laundry." "Ryan, you," she choked out, her voice shrill. "My daughter is already dead. Do you want me to die too? I should just beat you to death." "Go ahead. The camera's rolling," I said, calm as ever. "Lay one finger on me, and it'll be considered intentional assault. You'll end up in jail." "You," she gasped, spinning to the others. "Help me. Get him out of here. I don't want to see him." "Wow, so now that you're scared of getting caught, you want your relatives to do your dirty work? That's low, even for you. You want them to risk assault charges for you?" At that, several relatives who looked like they were about to move went still. The energy in the room shifted. No one wanted to be her scapegoat. It was clear they were starting to turn on her. That's not what I meant." Patricia tried to recover, but I wasn't wasting another second. "Mom," I said bluntly, "do you even know how Emma died? She died because of you. You gave up on rescuing her. You're the one who killed her." "She died because of you," Patricia snapped back, eyes glinting with hatred. "Emma was rushing out to buy a Valentine's Day gift for Tyler. That's why the accident happened. She was calling him when the truck hit her." I took a slow breath, then said, "Exactly, you just proved my point." Patricia blinked in confusion. I raised the phone again. This was her last conversation. Tyler asked for a gift. Emma went out to buy him a gold necklace. The timestamp of that call? The exact moment she ran a red light and got hit. I held the phone out for Patricia to see. Her hands trembled as she took it. Her eyes widened. All the color drained from her face. She turned slowly, almost robotically, and stared daggers at Tyler. Then she lunged. Why did you make my daughter buy you a gift? Give me back my daughter. Give her back," she screamed, grabbing Tyler by the hair and clawing at him, sobbing and shrieking uncontrollably. The room descended into chaos. No one tried to stop her, not even the cameraman, who kept the footage rolling. The TV station clearly didn't mind airing the truth in all its ugliness. "She wanted to," Tyler cried out, trying to pry her off. "I didn't force her. I didn't hold a knife to her throat and make her go. She said she loved me. She had to get me a gift. What was I supposed to do?" That did it. Tyler had said too much. He had blurted it all out. There it was, his public confession. He was Emma's lover. I looked over at David, Tyler's supervisor. His face had turned a sickly shade of green. It was a public humiliation he hadn't seen coming. Tyler's truth was no longer a secret. It was a scandal, and now it was televised. Sometimes the truth doesn't just hurt, it detonates. Naturally, the most agitated person in the room was Patricia. "How dare you say something like that?" she snapped, her voice shaking with outrage. "My daughter is dead, and you're still being so sarcastic? Are you really blaming me for her death?" "Blame?" Tyler suddenly turned the attention back on me, eyes gleaming with accusation. "Ryan didn't even try to save her. Isn't that right, Ryan? Did you deliberately not rescue Emma because you found out she didn't love you anymore? No matter what happened between you two, it was a life. How could you be so heartless?" Tyler's shamelessness was truly unmatched. No wonder he'd won Patricia over so easily. In all the years I was with Emma, I had never once received Patricia's approval. But Tyler? She adored him. After they got married, Patricia even took out all her savings to buy them a house. And she had both Emma's and Tyler's names put on the deed. When Patricia heard Tyler's accusation, she immediately redirected her fury toward me. "So that's it, isn't it? You didn't save Emma because she had someone else. How could you be so cruel? No matter how bad things were, you should have saved her. You let her die. That's murder." Her face twisted with rage, and for a moment, it looked like she might actually lunge at me. Around us, whispers began to ripple through the room. Some muttered, "No matter the circumstances, you can't just let someone die. Saving a life matters more than anything else. It's just too cold-blooded." Others countered, "Isn't it ironic? though. She was buying a gift for her lover and got into a wreck. And yet they still expect the husband to step in and save her? That's emotional blackmail. Most of the ones defending the act of saving her were from the older generation. The younger ones, not so much. I turned to Patricia and said calmly, "Mom, I've said it before, it wasn't me who didn't save Emma. It was you. Emma was my only daughter. How could I ever let her die?" I paused, letting that truth hang in the air before continuing. "When the doctor told us her rescue might cost hundreds of thousands, and that she could end up in a vegetative state, you were the one who said you didn't have the money." Patricia interrupted, defensive and loud. "I didn't have the money. But you, how could you not have money? You were married to her for 3 years. You're telling me you didn't save anything? Even if you didn't have it, you could have borrowed it." I stared at her, stunned by her audacity. "In those 3 years of marriage, if Emma had given you even a penny less, maybe you would have had savings." I raised my voice, my frustration boiling over. "And let's not pretend Emma's money didn't all go to you or Tyler. What right do you have to judge me for not having money to borrow? You had money. Why didn't you use it to save your daughter?" "You're twisting everything. That's not what happened," Patricia shouted, her face burning red. I didn't flinch. "I have proof," I said coldly. I had prepared for this moment. Slowly, I took out the file folder I'd brought with me and pulled out a stack of bank statements. These are Emma's bank records from the past 3 years. Her monthly salary was nearly 20 yuan. Every month, the first thing she did was transfer 60%, about 10 yuan, to her mother. "That's you," I pointed at Patricia, whose face was paling fast. "The remaining 40%, about 5,000, went to Tyler. The rest, around 3,000, helped cover household expenses, though the average she spent on the family was barely 1 yuan a month. The final 2,000 was for herself, makeup, clothes, the image she kept up because she always said working in a big company meant looking the part." Patricia stared at the long list of transactions, her lips moving wordlessly. There was nothing she could say to refute it. These were facts, cold, printed facts. "And me?" I continued, my voice firm. "My salary was only 5 yuan a month. But every single cent went to our family. Want to see my monthly breakdown too?" Her silence was answer enough. Sometimes justice doesn't come with a gavel, it comes with cold, hard truth laid bare in front of everyone. I couldn't even afford to buy myself a piece of clothing that cost more than 500 yuan. Meanwhile, Emma was treating Tyler to candlelight dinners that cost even more than that. I showed everyone the breakdown of my own spending. The TV station reporters were the most active, their cameras rolling non-stop. No one expected the story to flip so dramatically. "So, Mom," I continued, voice steady but cutting, "Emma's been working for what? 7 or 8 years now? I gave you more than 100,000 yuan every year. By now, you should have at least 1 million yuan in your account. Why didn't you use any of that to save Emma?" "Where would I get that kind of money?" Patricia huffed indignantly. "When you and Emma got married, didn't I buy the house outright?" She was already trying to make excuses again. "But Emma and I were married for 3 years after that," I reminded her, not letting up. "We bought the house when we got married. Yes, but there were 3 more years after that. You still managed to save hundreds of thousands during that time." I pressed further, unrelenting. "When I bought that house, I borrowed money from relatives. Don't you think we should pay them back?" Patricia kept dodging, desperate to protect her lies. "Is that so?" I said with a cold laugh. "Well then, all our relatives are here today. Let's ask them. Who lent my dear mother-in-law money to buy that house?" Everyone in the room looked at each other uncomfortably. Not a single person spoke up. Patricia began to look panicked. She probably never imagined that the man she had manipulated and drained for years would one day turn the tables on her, publicly. No less. "Fine," she finally muttered, biting the inside of her cheek. "Yes, I still have a bit of money set aside." But she refused to acknowledge anything else. "But I never said I wouldn't use it to save Emma. Emma is my only daughter. Why would I not pay to save her? Ryan, how could you falsely accuse me like this? I stared at her, completely unfazed. I knew you'd deny it, I said coolly. That's why I went to the hospital and got a copy of the security video. The one from when you spoke to the doctor. Patricia's face went pale in an instant. But I didn't give her a chance to protest or backtrack. I took out my phone and hit play. Her voice rang out, sharp and clear. What? The rescue costs hundreds of thousands. And there's no guarantee she can even be saved? There's a high chance she'll be a vegetable even if she survives? You'd better think this through. I can't give you any advice. I can only tell you the worst outcome. The doctor said, sounding resigned. Then Patricia's voice took over. Anyway, I don't have the money. I'm unemployed, living off a pension of $1,000 or $2,000 a month. What money do you expect me to have? Ryan, you're her husband, you make the decision. As soon as the video played, the room erupted in gasps and whispers. Oh my God, what kind of person is this? Someone muttered. Her own daughter's dying, and all she cares about is her money? Another voice snapped. And she already took her daughter's money for years. Now she's trying to dump everything on her son-in-law? What a setup, someone else said bitterly. If her daughter dies, all the debt falls on the son-in-law. She keeps the money, and he gets stuck with the bill. Unreal. She wants everything for herself. This is karma catching up to her. And to think she had the nerve to go to a TV station to smear her son-in-law? Shameless. Patricia was humiliated beyond words. Her face turned red, then white, then red again, but she couldn't get a single word out. She stood frozen in place, completely exposed. Watching her squirm should have satisfied me, and in part, it did, but it wasn't enough. What I endured in my previous life went far deeper than this public embarrassment. So I kept going, calm and composed. My mother-in-law contacted the TV station today to accuse me publicly. She also took things from my home and destroyed our decor. So now, I'm here to clear the air. Some truths don't need to be shouted, they just need to be spoken out loud in front of the right people at the right time. The reason I did all this? I have to admit, deep down, I was never truly at peace. I couldn't let it go. Why was it that Emma could betray me? Find someone else, and still have her mother's full support? Now that Emma's gone, there's no way to confront her anymore. I didn't want to fight with my mother-in-law either. I just wanted to reclaim what was mine and move on from this family in peace. By my things, I mean the home appliances my parents gave me when I got married. The interior decoration? That was also paid for by my family. But the house itself, it's in Patricia's name. I don't own a single part of it. So, all I could do was pack up my belongings and leave. And since we're being honest, let's clear this up too. Patricia always said she bought the house outright. So the wedding expenses were covered by my side of the family. My parents paid for everything. They even gave a 200,000 yuan betrothal gift. Most people here today should remember that. Patricia bragged about it to anyone who'd listen. How her daughter got married without spending a penny and still managed to earn 200,000 yuan. A relative jumped in, nodding. I can vouch for that. She used to say all the time how smart her daughter was, that she made money by getting married. She even mocked my son for spending hundreds of thousands on his wife. I nearly argued with my son because of her. But looking back, thank God I didn't let her words get to me. Otherwise, this kind of retribution might have fallen on me. She deserved what she got. Her daughter's death? That's divine punishment. Patricia's face turned beet red. What did you just say? What nonsense are you spewing? She shouted. Furious, she lunged at the relative. But the man's wife shoved her back hard, making Patricia stumble several steps. If you dare lay a hand on her, the woman said coldly, I swear, I'll make you regret it. You? Patricia's voice trembled. She was clearly rattled. The woman didn't stop. It's your fault your daughter is dead. You're the reason your own husband died too. You destroy everything around you. When you die, no one will even come to your funeral. You. Patricia's rage hit its breaking point. She broke down completely, screaming and sobbing. "You're all ganging up on me, on a poor, lonely old woman. You'll all die miserable deaths." She wept and cursed at the same time, her voice shrill and unhinged like a madwoman. It was beyond pitiful, it was disgraceful. The room watched in disgust. No one felt sorry for her. No one even tried to stop her. She had brought this on herself. I stayed silent for a moment, then added calmly, "There's one more thing I want to clear up." I didn't even look in Patricia's direction. Emma and I never had children, not because of me, but because of Emma's poor health. I've got the medical certificate right here. It shows she had uterine cold syndrome. I held it up for everyone to see. "That's enough, Ryan, that's enough," Patricia shrieked, practically losing her mind. "Do you want Emma to die full of regret?" Regret? People like Patricia. Do they even know what regret means? "I had planned to try IVF," I said quietly, "but my mother-in-law said it was too expensive. She insisted we conceive naturally. Emma never got pregnant. She died without ever becoming a mother." Gasps filled the room. The crowd erupted again. He deserved this. Obsessed with money. And now, no grandchild, no legacy. Karma. God really does have eyes. People like her don't deserve sympathy. Patricia crumbled completely. "Shut up, all of you. Just shut up." But no one listened to her. And neither did I. I kept my voice steady. I didn't come here today to attend Emma's funeral. After all, Emma died because of Tyler. I'm not a priest. I'm not that forgiving. I didn't come just to defend myself. Some debts need to be settled in front of everyone. I looked straight at Patricia and Tyler, my voice cold and steady. "Don't blame me for confronting you now. I was planning to wait until after Emma's funeral. But since you're so eager to push things, I won't waste any more time." Before either of them could say a word, murmurs rippled through the crowd. "Let him speak," someone shouted. "Whatever needs to be settled, let it be settled now. We support you, Ryan. We were wrong about you before. Say what you need to say, while everyone's here. We'll make sure justice is served. We're not going to let these two bully you anymore." Another chimed in. "Go ahead, Ryan. We've got your back." The reporter, Sarah, came over and stood beside me, her voice buzzing with excitement. "We're live right now, on TV and online. The public is watching, and everyone's rooting for you. They want to see you get the justice you deserve. And our station is with you all the way. If you need legal help, we can bring in an attorney immediately." "I'll take it," I replied without hesitation. "Thank you." Sarah nodded and stepped away to make the call. "With the TV station here," I said, turning back to the crowd, "I won't let myself be taken advantage of again." Patricia looked uneasy for the first time. Panic flared in her voice. "Get out of here. If you want to cut ties with Emma, then go. I'll pretend I never had a son-in-law like you." "Don't be in such a rush," I said calmly. "I'll leave after we settle the accounts." "I don't owe you anything," Patricia snapped. "You smashed up the place. I'll just consider it bad luck and let it go." I didn't even have to respond. Someone in the crowd beat me to it. "Do you have no shame?" a voice called out. "Ryan already said his parents paid for the renovation. He doesn't live there anymore. He has every right to smash what's his." Patricia shot back. "I let them live there rent-free for years." "How dare you?" another voice yelled. "You're seriously claiming that? I've never seen such shamelessness in my life." The crowd started to turn, voices rising one after another in support of me. Patricia's face twisted in frustration. "This is our family's business," she yelled. "We don't care about your private affairs," someone shouted, "but we care about Ryan. And we'll see this through to the end." I was stunned. I had expected Patricia and Tyler to be humiliated today. But I never imagined this kind of overwhelming support. In my last life, I was isolated, abandoned. People called me a fool or demanded money I didn't owe. No one stood up for me. No one believed me. The hatred I faced in that lifetime was so deep. I felt nothing when I finally jumped to my death. No regrets. But now, this moment, so many voices backing me up. People who believed in me. It moved me more than I expected. My throat tightened, my eyes burned, and I had to fight hard to keep the tears from spilling. Then, as if on cue, the lawyer arrived, Thomas Reed, from the TV station's legal team. I took a deep breath, steeled myself, and spoke clearly so everyone could hear. I was married to Emma for 3 years. According to the marriage law, everything earned during our marriage, by me or by Emma, is joint property. I paused, then turned toward the lawyer. And as you've all just seen, during those 3 years, Emma gave most of her money to her mother and her lover. Can I legally recover those funds? Thomas nodded, firm and professional. Yes, under the marriage law, all income earned by either spouse after the marriage is considered marital property. If a significant portion of that money was transferred to third parties without mutual consent, you have the right to claim your share, especially if those transfers were made without your knowledge or against your interest. I nodded slowly, processing the weight of his words, and the justice I had long been denied finally starting to tip in my favor. Some truths demand to be spoken out loud, and today I wasn't going to leave without making things right. If one spouse gives away marital money without the other's knowledge, the lawyer, Thomas Reed, explained firmly, the uninformed party has the right to recover those funds, but only if there's evidence. Without missing a beat, I pulled out a folder from my bag and handed it to him. These are the transfer records. A detailed breakdown of the money Emma sent to them over the past 3 years. Thomas reviewed the documents carefully, flipping through each page with a practiced eye. After a moment, he nodded. These are valid. This is strong evidence. Based on this, you can demand repayment. I turned slowly and fixed my gaze on Patricia. My voice was calm but firm. Emma transferred a total of 430 yuan to you, after rounding, over the last 3 years. I expect you to return the money. Patricia's expression twisted with fury. Are you out of your mind? All the money my daughter earned is mine. What right do you have to touch it? Are you so greedy you've lost your soul? The law says otherwise, Thomas replied coolly. Once a couple is married, all income earned by either party is considered marital property, shared equally. Patricia scoffed. Law, schma, she's my daughter. Married or not, what's hers is mine. Thomas started to respond, but I held up a hand. Don't bother, I said. There's no reasoning with someone like her. Let's not waste time. Can I file a lawsuit? Yes, Thomas said, nodding. You can sue for all of it, including the 120.000 yuan Emma gave to her so-called lover, Tyler. I turned to face the two of them. If I don't see the full amount in my bank account within 3 days, we'll settle this in court. Patricia's face went pale, then flushed red with rage. Ryan, you would actually sue me? Do you think I'm scared of you? Bring it on. Tyler tried to keep his cool, but he was clearly unraveling. The money Emma gave me was a gift. Why the hell should I return it? I looked him square in the eyes and answered slowly. Clearly, because the law is about fairness and justice. He had no comeback. His mouth opened, but no words came. His face flushed crimson. I spoke one final time, loud enough for everyone to hear. 3 days. Or we'll see each other in court. I didn't look back. I walked away. I had no intention of wasting another second on them. Ryan, a voice called from the crowd. It was a relative. If they don't return it, I'll be there with you on the day of the trial. Others chimed in enthusiastically. Count us in. Just let us know. We'll all show up. I want to see how tough these two act in front of a judge. Thank you, I said, deeply moved. Really, thank you. After going through what I had, I'd learned just how powerful kindness can be. Sometimes it shines brightest after the darkest storms. As I stepped out of the morning hall, Sarah, the reporter, caught up with me. Ryan, she said, breathless but sincere, our station is committed to supporting you. If you move forward with the lawsuit, we'll provide free legal aid. Just say the word. I will, I replied. If I decide to go ahead, I'll contact you. Of course, I knew nothing in this world came completely free. The station had its own motives, ratings, exposure, headlines, but that was fine with me. I wasn't the one getting hurt anymore. And if the truth came to light along the way, if the world saw just how ugly some people could be, so much the better. When I got home, I had just stepped out of the elevator when I saw a group of older neighbors waiting at my front door. They were the same people who had once spread rumors and pointed fingers at me. "Ryan," one of them said sheepishly, "we misunderstood you. We didn't know you were suffering through so much. Please, don't take it to heart." An elderly woman stepped forward with a forced smile and offered me a large bag of fruit. "We were all fooled by your wicked mother-in-law. I never thought she could be so heartless. Please, take this as our apology." They handed me the bag and scurried away, but not before one of them called back. "We're on your side now, Ryan." Strangely, I didn't feel angry with them. Most people are just swept along by public opinion. They believe what they hear. Follow the crowd. It's not worth hating them. The only ones I truly resent are Patricia and Tyler. I opened the door. My parents were inside, waiting for me. The moment they saw me, their eyes welled with tears. They were clearly shaken, probably from watching the live broadcast. The grief, the anger, the helplessness, it was all in their faces. And yet, beneath it all, I could see how relieved they were just to have me back home. I never expected justice to feel so heavy, and yet so freeing. "Ryan, I didn't know you suffered so much at the hands of the Collins family." My mother sobbed as she pulled me into a tight hug. My father stood beside her, his eyes rimmed with red, trying to hold it together. "It's okay, it's all behind us now," I said softly, trying to ease their pain. "My son is still smart and capable." My father, a man of few words who rarely gave praise, looked at me with pride that couldn't be hidden. "Otherwise," he added, his voice tightening, "we would have been crushed by Emma's mother. Just thinking about it makes my chest feel tight." A wave of sadness washed over me. In another life, I hadn't made it this far. Back then, I'd been driven to the edge by their cruelty, so much so that I took my own life. I couldn't even bear to imagine what my death would have done to my parents. But this time, things were different. I was still here, I had a second chance, and I wouldn't waste it. 3 days passed. Patricia and Tyler never returned the money. I didn't chase them. I went straight to the TV station and prepared for the court date. 2 months later, we finally faced each other in court. When I saw them again, I was momentarily stunned. They looked like shadows of their former selves. Patricia, once plump and full of bluster, had lost at least 40 pounds. Her frame looked small now, almost brittle. Tyler didn't fare much better. His skin was pale, almost yellow, and he looked completely drained. Whatever charm he used to have was long gone. I couldn't help the bitter smile that tugged at my lips. Then again, I knew too well what it felt like to be publicly shamed, bullied online, and whispered about by neighbors. I knew how it broke you from the inside out. The courtroom was packed. Friends, relatives, even some neighbors, came to support me. And outside of those 4 walls, thousands more followed the story online, waiting for justice. My lawyer, Thomas, presented a strong case. In the end, the court ruled in my favor. Tyler was ordered to return the full amount Emma had spent on him, 121.651 yuan. Patricia was granted 20% alimony but ordered to repay 342.162 yuan. However, since Emma had passed away, Patricia still had a legal right to inherit part of her estate. After calculating the compensation from the insurance company, 38.000 yuan, and dividing the remaining balance, I, as Emma's husband, would receive half. The rest would be split with Patricia. In the end, Patricia still owed me 216.708 yuan. When I walked out of that courtroom, a deep sense of relief settled over me. The bitterness from my past life, gone. Emma was no longer here. But I'd reclaimed what I was owed. My name had been cleared. I could hold my head high and finally move forward. As for Patricia and Tyler, I knew this was just the beginning of their reckoning. Patricia, once loud and proud, was now treated like a pariah. People didn't pity her, they judged her. After all, her only daughter had died under a cloud of disgrace. And word had spread fast. No relatives came to check on her. She was left alone, bitter and isolated, even with her house and leftover savings. Then I heard something that would have been funny if it weren't so sad. Patricia had fallen victim to a scam. Some shady group selling skincare products kept calling her Mom, showering her with fake affection. Patricia, hungry for love and approval, ate it up. She spent all her money on their overpriced junk. No one in the family stepped in. In fact, they mocked her behind her back, saying she got what she deserved. When the scammers disappeared with her money, Patricia had a meltdown. She screamed in the street like a madwoman. But nobody paid attention. The police took her report. But cases like hers were far too common. They didn't have the time, or the resources, to recover her losses. After that, she started showing signs of mental illness. She wandered around the house, muttering to herself, calling out for Emma as if she were still alive. Her neighbors, unable to handle her strange behavior, eventually called the police. She was taken to a psychiatric hospital. And then, there was nothing. No updates, no visits, just silence. Tyler's fall was just as steep. His employer fired him over his involvement in the scandal. He couldn't walk down the street without getting dirty looks. Some extreme online trolls even mailed him creepy toys and threatening letters. No one wanted anything to do with him. After the truth about him and Emma came to light, his reputation was destroyed. I heard he stopped going outside, locked himself in his apartment for days on end, isolated, silent, refusing to speak to anyone. It reminded me too much of myself in that other life. At first, you try to keep up appearances. Then you withdraw, cut everyone off, and before you know it, the silence takes over. Some say he might be headed toward the same fate I once faced. But that's not my concern anymore. Whatever becomes of Tyler, it's his to carry. His consequence, his karma. As for me, my new life has just begun.